Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rick Berube here. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Arizona, California, and Nevada. And today we have a very special treat. We're mixing it up a little bit today. Today we're going from residential to commercial. Okay, and I know this gentleman because I've been here for 7 years now, and he's been here all of it. As a matter of fact, as we were talking before we started, we were actually roomies over in Pebble before we actually moved. He went into Aldo's office, and I came over here to the corporate office. But you know what? One of the best things ever was when I was my first couple of years with the company, and even a few recently, I've been to the national, to the awards and seeing this man carry home #1 a few times for the whole country in the commercial award for Berkshire Hathaway. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Chris McGarey. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
As you can hear, our studio audience goes crazy for you. Did you hear that?
I love it.
All right, Chris. Well, you know what? Tell them a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, and all that good stuff, please.
So I've been studying all night for these questions. So officially, about 40 plus years, if you count my first early years in Scottsdale, Arizona. I grew up, my mom was in real estate in Scottsdale from 1972 until 2012, so a long stretch. And as a child, I used to run across the streets and put up those open house signs on the medians. So about 40 years there. But if you count it for me, I've been in Nevada. It'll be 30 years in October. Of those 30 years, I've been affiliated with Mark and the company for 27 of those years. So quite a while.
That is so awesome. And give them a little idea about your team and, your production level and so forth.
All right, perfect. So what we do is actually, I started in 1994 with Berkshire, actually Americana Better Homes and Gardens at that time. Tried to do a little of everything. And in 1996, I'll never forget it, my manager at the time said, you need to get focused and you need to get some stuff done production-wise. Otherwise and she dragged her fingers across her neck, which, they say resentments are the best way to get production. So I set up a business plan. That was my first year ever of doing business plans. So that was 1995 in the fall. And from 95 to now, we've always had goals every year to be, to do a little bit better than we did last year. So I'm proud to say for the last 8 years, we've been a diamond team. And for the last 12 years, we've been either #1, #2, or in the recent years, we got down to #5 nationally on the commercial level. But 8 of the last 12 years, we've been the #1 team nationwide.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I love going there and seeing you win those awards. It was such a treat to be there for that, too. And, that didn't happen last year, but it'll happen again coming soon, So looking forward to
it. The bigger the company gets, the more competition we have. We're still what's registered as a small team. There's only 8 of us.
Yeah.
So we've only got 8 people, and of 8, Josh and I don't really do a lot of business. We manage the teams. So, we're pretty proud of the 7 productive agents that we have. But yeah, I agree with you. We're going to try and get back up there for Mark and the team. Last year, I think we were #5.
Yeah, that's awesome. So great. Yeah, and you guys are very effective with that team. You got a great team over there, too. Let's face it. I mean, pretty much most of them have been with you quite a while, haven't they?
Josh and I have been together 15 years. Bo, who is our transaction coordinator, if you want to use that term, she has been with us for 17 years. A couple other people, 10 plus years. And it's, that's rare because what we do, I didn't answer that question either. We are just investment property managers. We do very little sales. So all of our production is really management fees and leasing fees on commercial and residential properties. So it's rare to keep somebody, more than 3 or 4 years because everybody's always got the vision that it's greener at the next company. So yeah, we've got some long-term employees. Thank God for Josh and thank God for Bojana because we've survived a couple of recessions. We've survived, some other issues going through the real estate industry in the last 12 years.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a while, so you've seen some crazy markets. And we were just talking about that map behind you of the Vegas area. I mean, a lot of changes since you've been doing it here, my man, huh?
Yeah, so I started, it seems like I'm always following the wave after it's crashed. I grew up in Scottsdale, as I said earlier, and I'm the youngest of 7. 6 of us are in real estate. My mom started the chain. 6 of us are boys. and most of my brothers all of them decided to do the commercial side of real estate. 1988, I get out of college. I'm ready to go to work in Scottsdale, and Scottsdale's fleeing like the plague. So I ended up trying for about a year. They sent me to California, or I got a job in California in Irvine working for a company, and then they sent me to Vegas. So finally, I got ahead of the crest, and yeah, we've been very successful here in Las Vegas since 1992.
Isn't that great? They sent you to Vegas to do something for what was it? It was like a rehab for a building, wasn't it?
Yeah. So a couple of the brokers, I worked for a national company called Marcus and Millichap. Since I was 14 years old, I wanted to be part of that company because they were the people that were selling my family's shopping centers in Scottsdale. And I liked the suits, the Mercedes 450 SL, which was the popular car at the time. And I said, I want to be an M&M agent. So I got hired by the Irvine office in 1990, and excuse me, 1988. And, unfortunately, it wasn't the time for me to go on straight commission. So a couple of guys sent me to Vegas. They actually bought one of their own listings. It was a shopping center downtown built in the 1950s. And so they said, we're going to have you be our property manager. Moved here, and then the rest is history. I just stayed focused on investment property management from that day forward.
So that must, that's an incredible story too, because that place looked totally different then. The hotel you were staying at is no longer even there.
They imploded it. It's blew up.
Yeah.
The show.
It's a video that you can watch on YouTube. See, I'm from the East Coast, man. Everything in the East Coast is built and then still there. Right here, we don't like that. Let's implode it and put something new there. I love it. It's totally different.
Exactly. No, if it's not working out, let's blow it up and do something different. It's. I've been fortunate. When I moved here, the only hotel above 3 stories was the Mirage.
Right.
And now, so I've seen. We always said is when there's cranes on the strip, residential is going to be doing gangbusters, and then we usually follow residential like night follows day. So when they're busting and moving, which they've been doing, and that's why our commercial industry right now is on fire. We generally watch you guys. Also, the same is true when you guys are starting to have some tough times on the residential side. We start to hopefully save our money.
Yeah. And how, so that's interesting because a lot of companies now are, allowing people to work at home and so forth, but they still have their offices. So how has because we know the pandemic didn't really affect the residential business. It's still going crazy. But how did it affect the commercial market?
It was tough, especially what we do. See, we collect rents, and when there's nobody open, they're not making money to pay their rent. So I'm proud to say that our portfolio, both residential and commercial, never went below 10% or above 10% of a delinquency problem. Obviously, the 10% that was delinquent created a lot of problems, but thank goodness we didn't have a higher number because a lot of people just weren't open. During the pandemic, a lot of our retail shopping centers that we manage, our newest problem was getting security to watch the windows because nobody was there. Now we're kind of on the other side. People got tired. I think you've seen it in the news. Office is booming again. People, it was great to work in your pajamas at home, but I think people are tired of being at home. I happen to be at home right now, but after here, I go back to the office for the rest of the day. So it's a mixture of both the sectors in the commercial that got really busy, that were kind of not really downtrodden, but they were sort of, they weren't making waves, is now making waves is industrial. If you've got land big enough to build an industrial building, you could be, sitting home free in a couple of years from developing on it. It's great.
That's great. Yeah, especially with, I know a portion of yours is residential. So you're trying to collect rents. They're collecting money from the government. Some of them don't have to pay because of the rent moratorium and so forth, which must have made it difficult. I can only imagine. But you guys didn't go below 10%. That's incredible.
No, we worked from March 15th when we first got shut down, March 15th, 2020. We immediately went into action. Josh on the residential, myself on the commercial, started talking to our owners, started looking for it. Anytime there was news about grants or any kind of money available, we would notify our tenants and just get as good as we can. Unfortunately, we couldn't save everybody. A lot of them took it as an opportunity to shut down. They weren't doing well before the pandemic, and they certainly weren't going to be doing well after it. So they elected to just shut the doors. Good news is we're leasing like crazy right now. There's
Yeah.
so many people coming in from out of state wanting to open up doctor's offices, tanning salons, gyms. We've been actually working on some stuff on the Strip, that would be the first time in my career, other than at the bottom of the Allure Towers, would be to do a deal on the Strip. So pretty exciting times.
That is great. Yeah, it's like because you mentioned Phoenix. We have we have offices in Phoenix. We have offices in California. But and I'm thinking I live here in Las Vegas too. I'm thinking now that things have opened up and things are getting the economy's open, things are getting a little crazy. You're seeing a lot of people move to the Vegas businesses because of the tax
Yep.
situation and residential. A lot of people moving to the Vegas area. I think we're number 6, maybe be number 5 now of the most popular destinations in the country right now.
Right, right. And Vegas is, we've got a lot of stuff that people still like. Obviously, you can't compete with Scottsdale. I was down there for a week last month visiting my hometown. I grew up in Paradise Valley and worked at the Scottsdale airport as a teenager. I drove out there, and I can't believe the multifamily and all the development that's going on in Kierland. And I stayed out in Pinnacle Peak, which used to be where we would do flight training off of Dynamite Road. Now people live out there. It's just crazy, the spread down there. So Vegas is the same way. We're when I got here, I used to say Vegas 1990 was like Phoenix 1970. The
Yeah.
town was small enough to where you knew everybody. You got referrals from everybody, of which that's it's now. Now we're busting at the seams a little bit, but it's still Vegas is still small. We're still a town, and there's still lots of opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, I love PV is going crazy too. They're buying houses, they are tearing them down, putting up brand new houses on lots. The only part I don't like about PV, it's the only time I've ever got a speeding ticket in the mail from a stationary car taking a picture of me. Now that I wasn't too keen about.
It's funny you say that. So I got flashed on twice. Luckily, my car is still new, and I was waiting for a DMV appointment. So not that I'll skate on the ticket, but I got flashed twice going down Scottsdale Road. And but at PV, yeah, I grew up on Chaparral and 69th. They mowed down an entire community of probably like 600 homes to create that bypass that goes through what used to
Sure.
be Thornwood Acres. And I went by my old house is on the market. My mom bought it at 72 for 49.9. She sold it like in 88 and moved to a different community in Scottsdale. But it's on the market for 1,499,000, and I don't think they've done anything to the house other than update it. It's
Yeah.
still a 1,400 square foot home on the corner of 69th and Chaparral, and I was just blown away. It's still the same kidney shaped pool that I grew up with. Had my mom kept it, I wouldn't be working now, right? I'd say, hey,
Uh,
let's sell the house, and I'll cash out.
right, there you go.
So,
Awesome.
but yeah,
Awesome.
I would love to be there still, and I'm glad I didn't because obviously I've made my way. Growing up the youngest of seven, 6 of us boys, you're always somebody's something. So I was either Joe McGarry's son or I was Rob McGarry's brother, or these kinds of things. So nobody knew me in Vegas. Nobody knew any of that stuff. So I was able to set my own flag, if you will,
That's
pick
kind
my
of
own
right.
flag. What's
Yeah.
that?
That's kind
Yeah,
of good. Like you said, claim your own territory, set your flag in, and go at it. Which we have.
exactly.
Which we
Exactly.
have.
So I've been fortunate. It's not been me. I've had a great team, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
15 years with Josh, 17 years with Bo. We do the same thing every day. We manage
Yeah.
property.
Well,
You
think
know,
about it too. For you guys to be number one for a number of years in the nation, just here in Vegas alone, Jack Woodcock, you got Mario, you got Derry Prima. Just to beat them is stiff competition enough. Never mind to be number one in the country, which was a joy watching you get that award a few times that I was able to be at it, which
yeah,
was
we've
great. So
gotten it eight times out of 12, so we're pretty happy about that. But we want it this
good
year.
batting
We'll
average.
see. Yeah, we'll see what happens this year. It's changed. As I said, when you guys are doing well, we usually follow you 6 months behind. So, residential's killing it this year. I'm very
Oh
competitive.
yeah,
One of your questions was, my goals. So my goals
yeah.
have always been, well, really for the last 8 years, is to achieve diamond status with our team, which we've done 8 of the last 8 years for sure. Hopefully we'll achieve that again this year. It's been a little tough because we get paid commissions on rents. So when
Right.
the rents aren't coming in, we're not, our average commission's around $2,500 on commercial and around $200 on residential. So we have a lot of checks. I mean, our staff, Aldo loves it because I think Aldo signs probably 700 checks a month for us. And so his arm gets tired because of property management checks. But no, we're just happy to be part of the company. We've been grateful, for all the referrals. We do what do we do year in and year out. I don't know
Yeah.
if I could do anything differently because we've had such good streaks, and we're known for that. We're
Yeah.
known. Oh, they manage property,
They
and
certainly
you
do.
trust your client with us. That kind of stuff.
And you get referrals from agents in the company too, and all that good stuff too, which is great. I refer
Yeah,
all the time.
we get 80%. We used to track it a little tighter, but on average, 80% of our business is referrals.
Yeah.
We do very little cold calling. We do very little prospecting. Not proud of that. We're so busy working our referral base. And so, we get referrals on the commercial side. A large portion of our referrals are from outside the brokerage
Yeah.
because they know they could send their client to us for property management services or leasing services, and they're not going to lose them for a purchase to me trying to be a salesman on the weekend.
Right.
That's something that I learned early on is, you treat the referral sources as good or better than the clients.
Right.
Don't tell the clients that, but you got to treat them right. I mean, the biggest complaint I hear is, Chris, I don't ever know what's going on with my client when I refer them over to somebody else.
Yeah.
So I've never been said, Chris, you're updating me too much.
Right.
We do from time to time. If there's no activity, we let them know there's no activity. So that's kind of tough because you don't want to call your referral source and go, sorry, nothing's happened yet, because you want to kind of look like the hero. But
Right.
I always teach my team, it's like, you'll never get a referral agent telling you you're calling me too much.
Right.
You
Yeah.
will, however, get them calling you up and saying, I haven't heard from you since I gave you the lead. And I'm not
Right.
saying we're perfect. Life happens and different things happen or no activity. But every week at our weekly team meeting, we talk about referrals and treating the referral agents as good or better than the client. Because they'll
Absolutely.
be with you for a longer time than the clients. Clients are pesky.
Yep.
They love you when you're doing good, and then when the property's in, investment headaches, then obviously, we're one of the first people they look at changing.
Well,
And
I
it's
mean,
not always our fault. It's the economy.
yeah, and you went through a progression there. I mean, early on in your career, you made phone calls, you did all that stuff because we were talking about it when you were over there on Pebble with me. But now, with your complete, people know who you are, and if they have somebody commercially or residential that needs leasing and commercial services, you're the guy. So that's very well.
Yeah.
Around it.
I apologize. That was a little confused. My team still makes cold calls. We
Yeah.
tell them, you got to farm.
Yeah.
When I was farming, I was in Newport Beach. I was driving out to Inland Empire, if you know where that is.
I do.
You do, because you do that drive. I
Grand
was on the
Circle,
55. I was on the 55 every morning, leaving Irvine and going to Cowtown out there in Chino and LaFont, off the 91 up to the 10 freeway, all the way out to San Bernardino. And we didn't have email.
Yeah.
Our most technological piece of equipment was a fax machine that was on plain paper, not on reels.
On the curly. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah, I do.
Remember
I
the
remember.
reels that would fade?
Yeah, you'd
That
have
was
to.
our
Right.
biggest piece of equipment. So, and I'd come back every night with canisters of 35 millimeter film, drop them off, go back to the office and pull plat maps off the wall to
Yeah.
find just a parcel number. Once I got the parcel number, then I had to go to a microfiche. I mean, we have it so easy today.
Oh my. Yeah.
We have
I
it
just.
so easy today. And yet it's really the toughest thing because you don't want to get rejections. But
Yep.
if anybody knows about making cold calls, you know about it. So
Yep.
we've
Sure
been
do.
asking you to have a commercial class for years. So hopefully maybe
Well,
next
I
time.
will do that. Let me know. I'd love to do that. I did when I was at Mike Ferry in the prospecting school. I actually did. Not many people know this, but I did a prospecting school for farmers insurance agents from Colorado.
Wow.
I spent 2 days with them. Yeah, and Mike told me on a Friday, right? And he said, by the way, you're doing 2 classes next week for And I'm like, what? Insurance?
Yeah.
So I had to come up with scripts over the weekend. One of my scripts with them was, you're selling insurance. Compared to selling real estate, that's like selling oxygen. Everybody
Right.
needs insurance. Nobody wants it. Everybody needs it. So
Right.
I had some fun
No,
with
and
it.
that's the company I started with, Marcus and Molchap, in after college. if you weren't making 300 calls a week, you might not have a job the following
Right.
week.
Exactly.
And we
Yeah.
weren't talking calling Aunt Betty back in New York. It was calling, real estate would track you and they tracked our numbers.
Right.
And it was tough, to make those calls. And before you make the call, you got to do the research on what number you're calling.
Right.
We didn't have lists. Nobody sold anything back then. So
Right.
no, we still do that to this day. I don't do it as much because I've kind of changed. I don't want to be competing with the people on my team.
Right. Of course
So
not.
all the stuff that comes in, we shell it out. We work it together. But we've got a great team concept. We're a small team. We're all crammed into one office. Mr. Craig Tan's old office over there on Southwest office and
I know
Sunset.
exactly what that is. Yeah. All right. Cool. All
We
right.
love it.
So speaking of that, let's give them. Okay. So you've been doing this a long time, very successful, awesome stuff. So if you could tell them the three most important things to consider, what would they be?
Specialize, be grateful, and take time for yourself. So specialization, as I mentioned earlier, when my manager at the time came to me and dragged her fingers across her neck and told me if I didn't do better production, I was going to be terminated from the old Americana Commercial Group back in 1995. So I got focused. Instead of trying to do a little of everything, I did one of something. And that was the first thing. Number two would be grateful for everything you got. Let people know that you're grateful for it. You can't, and communicate and take good care of your clients. Last thing is to take time off. My own family, I had a brother that worked his tail off, and unfortunately, he passed away at 48. Yeah, he had a house on Camelback Mountain. He had more cars in the garage than I will ever own, but he was stressed out and had a heart attack. So, as you and I have talked about over the years, I love to take time off, and I always will. So, work hard, play hard is kind of one of the other phrases people use, but work hard and take time to appreciate what you've done.
Yeah.
How's that for three? You want more?
No, that's great.
The
I
other
love.
thing would be to treat everybody like they're, it's not my phrase. You hear it. The CEO treats the janitor as well as he treats the employees. Everybody else. Just
Yeah.
treat
Fortunately,
everybody with respect. We're in such a weird time of the world right now that if I do my best to be treated. One other thing was get involved in associations. Commercial associations are key. Educate, the designation. I pointed at that pen earlier before. It was a lot of work and the hardest thing, but the best thing I've ever done. And
that's a CCIM too, right?
CCIM.
Yeah.
So again, I learned not by mistake, but I learned by advice. I
Yeah.
went on a great call. There used to be a property called Maryland Square. It was Maryland and Twain. It got knocked down, but I went on a call. It was one of the biggest projects ever in my life to do a proposal on. And the first question the guy asked me was if I was a CPM, which is, we say in property management world, CPM is like what the CPA is to accountants. So I went out and got my designations, and got involved in those associations, got on the boards, became president of a few of them.
Yeah. I've seen you.
It's networking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Networking is so key. My mom taught me that a long time ago. Always go where you're invited. You just never know. You might meet her, you might meet him, you might meet whoever. Could be a boss, could be a relationship, could be a friend. Always try and get out and meet people.
Yeah.
And don't fear the cold call.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you known Mark for a long time. So when you talk about that CEO, we know that Mark's very good at that. He belongs to a lot of different things, and he's also very involved with the agency. I mean, you've been around since Better Homes, Prudential, and now Berkshire Hathaway. So you've been through a whole gamut.
Mark was just promoted to general sales manager, and my good friend who was property manager at the Green Valley office at the time, 1993. Said, hey, Mark Stark would like to interview you. So Mark interviewed me, and 1993, typical Mark, I didn't get hired until 1994 because I had to bring spreadsheet after spreadsheet to him and show him what my idea of production was going to be. But in 1994, March 1st, we started at the Paradise office, and unfortunately, we got sold back in 2003, so I opened my own brokerage for 6 years. And then I went back to Mark and said, hey, I'd like to come back and do residential property management because we had stayed away from residential property management. But if you remember 2009, everybody was looking for property managers on residential houses. So that's when we started our residential side, and the rest is history. We leave, we don't leave, we don't jump ship. That's the other. Yeah, I mean, you asked for three, but the other thing is, it may look greener over at another brokerage, but I've been so happy with this company for 22 out of 29 years in Las Vegas that why would I ever? I've had offers, it always sounds good, but stay with the company. I'd much rather be in a bigger boat during a storm, as Mark told me that phrase back in 2009, and we're very happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, Chris McGarey, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for taking your time out today. It's a pleasure with you. It's a pleasure seeing you carry home the hardware. Yes. I don't know if Josh told you this, but the last award you got, okay, when you guys came in first, I was like 3 minutes late. When I got there, Josh was there holding the award, and you had just left. And I go, I missed it. Oh, my God. Because I guess they started a little early or something. So congratulations.
We know you're there. We know you're there, and we appreciate it. That's we'll see where we're at. We've had a good year. It's been a weird, kind of a strange year because of some other things, but our numbers are there, and first 6 months we're happy with our numbers, but we know we can always do better. So thank you for the opportunity to be on the Rick Starr show, and Rick Starr, right?
I appreciate it.
And anytime you're in the Southwest office, be sure to stop in and say hello. We'd love to see you.
Absolutely, my man. You're the best. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everybody. We'll do this again next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you.